All right, guys, we're going to be starting here soon. Give me just 1 second and we'll get turned on. All right. Okay, today we are taking a look at SPY this morning, and we are going to be looking at a couple of different levels. We're kind of dropping as far as where we're opening at. I was looking at opening above this level here at 507.37. So I'm going to take this off the screen because we have now sunk below this. So this is going to be an interesting point here that we're going to be breaking some of this liquidity. It looks like it's more favorable for a gap close here than anything. Okay, may take a moment. We might see it come and reject on our 509 mark, right? That's a swing low. 509.08 is what I have locked out. Let's see if that's right. 509.09. That's what I was thinking. So kind of watching this right here. Want to see where we are in relationship to the daily 20, right? So daily 20 is sitting at 509.46 today. So you need to be real cognizant that that 509 to 509.50 area, anywhere between this whole sell down right here, this line. Let me zoom in on this. This breakdown right here in this block right here is going to be really tough to get over today. All right. 507.37 is the upside. So, if you're going to say what's favorable, it would be for the short today. I will be looking to short this. I just want to kind of see how it reacted right here. We're definitely overbought right now. RSI is cooked. We've taken some of this liquidity. We've taken this liquidity out right here. We're going to see kind of how it responds. But it's definitely something where we could see this thing push down back to the weekly open. In my opinion, we could see a big red day today and bring us back all the way down to around that 498 mark. But will that happen? Well, we'll see. So let's get a little into it. Let's see what contract prices are. Yeah, so I mean, just these contract prices are pretty high. Um, doing this off screen. Hold on. Okay, so I'm taking a little short here, just a little bit of a lotto. Went with a 499 today. We're gonna see if this thing wants to pull back on us. Okay. Additionally, there's something you need to take a look at. Right, we have our trend here. This is closes. This would run us right into that 512 area, right around that liquidity there. So I believe that would be the upside today. But I do believe that we'll see this thing falling today. Let's go to regular instead of extended trade, and we'll kind of see how it responds here. Soon, our moving average, our 10 moving average will start to rise. So we might settle into this until that comes, and then it might push us up. But we also have the daily 20 that's pushing down on us. Okay, so larger time frame, a little bit. So the 499 right now is up 20%. We'll see if it wants to continue going down or if it wants to pop here. Kind of just take a look at this real quick. Okay, so we had a bit of volume here. If we take a look at the volume profile here on the side, we had a bit of volume in this level right around this 506 area. It did try to find a bounce, but ultimately what it has done is it's lost its liquidity. We'll see how it responds to this level here at 506.18. Looks like a decent sell on it. We'll see if it recovers or not. Okay. So 5-minute candle, 1 minute left on it, but it looks like a bounce on the 5-minute candle. I'm still in my 4.99, guys, right now. It's just, it might be something. I just grabbed one. It might be something where I have to grab several, but that would be up here. We'll see. I don't want to wait too long, but like I said, the whole time here, if we do get a confirmation bounce, the real kicker right here is, for me, is 507.37. Will it be a immediate buy, or super overbought right now? So I think we've got to have some type of cool off, right? So watching for something like, we came up here, we just kind of chop and we build some type of accumulation for distribution to the upside, or are we going to turn around and try to push down to 502? Just kind of watching how it reacts here. Daily levels, okay? As far as where I thought our range was today, I thought our range would be virtually from this 4, if I can get that locked out. This was my range today, and it still is my range today. So 497.49. I don't think we'll go outside this range here. I don't think we'll break down below 497. If that does happen to be the case, that we do push down, I don't believe that we'll push through that, but if it does, it would go straight for 493. But kind of watch and see how this responds. Let's take a look at some other things here. We see Tesla kind of, struggling a little bit here. It's trying to find its bounce here. We've got levels. It came up to weekly. Was that weekly? I don't know what that is. It might just be a level. Might be a weekly high or weekly open. Yeah, weekly high. And then it's just kind of sitting inside that weekly range between this blue line here. Yeah, previous week high right here, and then that previous low was down there. So we're kind of just sitting right there right now. We'll see if it does want to push over the top of this week, or if it's going to wait for next week. See if these contract sellers are going to suppress this. And then let's go take a look at the big dogs, right? So Microsoft, I talked about this a little bit, saying, hey man, let's not get too carried away with Microsoft. It was really nice that it had that earnings, but how's the outlook? Well, Intel said it was shit as far as chips go, but clouds, people are expanding into the cloud. That's really where Microsoft won. If you take a look at their earnings, and that may be something where we see. So for me personally, I'd be watching that 403 area to be taken out on Microsoft. It did take liquidity here at 413, and it's trying to push down. If it was my opinion, as far as structural wise, 405.79, this right here would be your safe bet, right? Come take this low right here at 405.81. Okay, so if you came and take this out, or at least tested it, then that's fine to me. I would look to trim a lot of my shorts here. This is going to have a bounce here soon after this little sell-off. So watch this level 405.81. Additionally, we have an unconfirmed break here, untested level. It gapped below it, and then it gapped above it. I think we're likely to test one of these two levels before we continue to make the move either way. SPY's kind of sitting, hanging around right now. Let's take a look at Google. Let's go back to regular trading hours. It's kind of sitting here around that 175 mark. Let's go back, extended. Okay. Really pushed up pretty heavily after hours for the earnings. Again, nice little snowball effect potentially here for Google. And what do I mean by that? Virtually means that, with them announcing their dividends, that we could continue to see people roll into Google and invest into Google, being as they're a tech stock and they've released a dividend, which means they're confident in their financial future. And, so looking at that, generally when you see a company like that has upside, you do a lot of times see a snowball effect, and that means just people start piling in, so it just drives the price up. So be curious to see what options look like for next week on Google, but I don't really expect it to exceed 183 today. That was pre-market, or post-market. Okay, SPY's jumping. I don't know what I just closed. Let's close something. Oh, we will. Okay. SPY is jumping right now. Let's take a look at it. Microsoft found a bounce, didn't quite make it to our level, but got close. Okay. So, did swipe the 507.37, and this is kind of where I said we need to see in how this reacts. Okay. It's going to be pretty crucial to see how this 507.37 it's having some type of issue. Okay, I'm gonna take the range off. Okay, we did swipe 507.37, so you got to watch out that is a trigger for this to sell down. Okay, so I am going to look at my 508 here. We're going to see how it responds. Okay, so looking at virtually at a bare minimum, I would look for the gap close at 504 on a contract like this. What I mean by this is it took our high side here at 507.37, and then we see it turn back around. Okay, we want to see kind of how it responds, but kind of a topping here on the R side in the 1 minute. 5 minutes played its cycle. I need to delete some of these. Some of these are old. Some of these are multi. Okay, so anyway, so we're up pretty high. So we could see one more push here before we see some type of topping signal as far as 5 minute RSI. Additionally, when you look at this, see 3 minutes left on it. Okay. Additionally, when you look at the 15-minute here, divergence is right here, but it is it's definitely topped it, right? So let's get a little zoom in here and see kind of where we're at. Yeah, so it's topped it. So for me, I always look at that and say, okay, there's definitely bullish sentiment. If it didn't tap it and then turn around, but it doesn't just mean that we touch it and then we turn around or anything like that. It just kind of gives me a signal, right, that we could see that. And I think that is virtually where we're looking at in regards to maybe this high here. So kind of getting a bit of a kickback. I did open the 504 put. We're going to see if it wants to roll back for the gap close, but I don't really want to see this thing continue to run up much higher before I'll have to look to repo. Really just want to see this thing jet down. We're going to see how it tests lows here, I think. The low of the day here. I think we're going to come down and test this. We'll set an alert on the high of the day. 5 minute 10 moving average is lagging. Okay, so we could chop here for a little bit before we end up making that move. So could see something potentially like a press on the low and then make a move up, or we can see this press, take the low and then squeeze up, or we can just see this thing roll back. I see 5 minutes. So we be pressed about here, and we come back up here, and we're kind of on an island, and then we see a reversal. That's also a possibility. But that type of reversal, to me, would be more so gap close and a 502 if we hang around. But if it's kind of quicker, then we'll be looking for some type of bounce. Right? A quick visit low, and then, but yeah, kind of my pass right now. A lot of hold on. Take a look at Microsoft again. Okay, Microsoft did find a bounce, but ultimately got sold on pretty heavily in that candle. We'll see kind of what it wants to do. If this wants to be a nice little harmonic reversal signal here for a potential push back at high day. Kind of getting that here too, but it's very sloppy. This is kind of where I was talking about where we'd see that potential reversal type of look where it comes down, it sets here, and that's where I was talking about. If it sets up there for like, let's say 20 minutes or so, that's definitely going to likely bring us to some type of look like that. Okay, but we've got to sit there and not really make any progression. There's your harmonic on 1 minute popping. Okay, so that would give us the upside for the 5 minute story for us, right? Let's see if this sells right here. As of right now, we're talking supply in this area here. So Google's taking this liquidity here on its pre-market low. And so let's see if it wants to try to use that area as some type of hold, or if it wants to try to run down and do some type of confirmation. What a weekly candle, huh? Okay, supply area here using candle open, candle close, and to the wick. See if we want to sell here, if it wants to try to make that move up. We're having a nice move with the moving average here, but we'll see if this wants to get sold on. Again, we have our 20-day moving average at 509.46. So realistically, y'all, your ideal short spot, if you're looking for this to say like a potential swing or something like that, would be your 509 mark. Your 509 to 511, you've got your 50 here, you've got your 20 here. This zone right here is the ideal swing short. And then you'd be looking for targets as like a gap close at 504, the actual close, the gap down here around that um, around that 495 mark. That's an unclosed gap. Um, but virtually, if this was the case, right, that this is a wave up for us, that we make it into this 509, 510 area. Um, and then we want to wave down. I mean, we'd be targeting probably 482, right? Yeah, 485, 477. I have previous all-time highs here, right here at 479.86. I just saw a ton of contracts come in on this. It's not as impressive as I thought. Just really was low volume on this particular, um, really low volume on this particular contract here. People are looking for that reversal here. It's like a 499. They got stopped out. Ooh, man. So people got some great fills. I fucked a lot of people right there, but yeah, kind of watching this, right? Came into our supply area, started turning around, found this moving average. Buyer stepped up on it, but still haven't surpassed the high here. Doesn't mean anything one way or the other for me right here at this point, um, until we start seeing some type of continuation. We just pop the top here, and then turn back around, it's no big deal. But if it does continue to go, we're likely to head to 509. So 509.09 seems to be the potential target here. Let's see how it responds to taking this high again. We're a little oversold again. Here's what I was talking about, harmonics, right? Let's see if we've taken it, and if it just kind of sets around, then you need to be really cognizant of that. Okay, smoked on that little 504 right now for sure. Doesn't look great. We talk about targets up in the 509. That's probably the target. So you could play your call up into that area. Just came into our fair value gap here, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think the target is 509.09. So we'll see how this responds to hitting its first major fair value gap. 2 minutes left on this candle, 2.5 minutes. Okay. So this could smoke a lot of people, right? If this sell signal holds, man, a lot of people would get smoked on some calls here because they think it's heading to 509. So it'd be really interesting to see if this thing just fucking daggers down and comes down to 506 again. A reversal down to 507.44 is a confirmation with a moving average here, but it does look really like reversal like. Let's just put it that way. let's take a look at some indicators here that are indicative to us. The dollar is gaining some strength today. It's pushing up. 2-year yield has actually dropped from holding 5%. I talked about this briefly yesterday in one of my voice notes and saying that let's see how it does with 5%. If it holds over the 5% overnight, then it's something we need to take a look at. Well, we're taking a look at it. I'm starting to see it pull back a little bit this morning. Dollar's on the rise though, so that's an interesting little deal. If you take a look at the dollar, it almost looks like a bull flag for a continuation to the upside, right? So pivot point for me was that 106.20 area. Seeing that dollar push through that, we're likely heading for 107, 107s, 107 and a half, and then it will push even higher into that 110 range. But we'll see. We'll kind of see how it responds. If that's the case, we'll definitely have a reversal in the market. If the dollar gains that much strength, we will see that happen. So just want to take a look at the yields there, see how the bond market's doing. Okay, so again, kind of talked about this. We're just kind of hanging around. We're on our next candle here, so this would be a reversal candle as far as harmonics. So this would be it. But really getting a push over the top of that. Need to see this candle, this 1 minute candle, really give us something coming down under like 507.75 or something. So need to see this reverse back below this. Bulls are trying to stop that, and they're going to try to push this to that 509 mark right here. I would love to see that. What the greatest setup would be is actual fake it out and then run that thing up, and that thing would squeeze and probably potentially give them the power, squeeze into that 511 area. Looking pretty squeezy. Harmonics would be down here. 313 left on the 5 minute candle. That's great job on if Jeff, if you're in the stream, great job there. How do I get my chat on OBS? Can I? Menu? Nope. So watching for a potential little thing here where we see, let me go to my dashboard. Live right now. So that way I can see what you're all saying. I thought I could see it. For whatever reason, it's not. Watching for a potential. Here we go. Which SPY put? Okay. Sorry guys, I got the chat up now. Yeah, I took a 508 there. I took a 508 for the reversal. We're see here's our harmonics. We're getting a bit of a pull down. We want to see this thing really get us a solid reversal candle. But if it doesn't, then it's by all means, you know, it could run up to 509 here. So just kind of watching, and it can reject off 509, or if it wants to take through it, then sure. But I'm kind of watching this right here. I think this is the more probable, and we'll at least get a move down to 507.45. I think we'll probably push our way back down even a little bit further, but we'll see. I am in the 508. Right here would be a pretty decent area to maybe take like a pretty strong like stand, like a 504. And like if you were going to do a spread. But watch this gray area here as a potential bounce, right? Or gray area, purple area. This would be the 5-minute harmonic reversal is what I'm looking for. We want to see it has, you know, you want to see it lose 507.37. You want to see it lose this high. If it loses that high, then it's a pretty good indicator that we're probably going to get some type of pullback. But we could just see a little bit of chop here. We'll see. I think it's more likely that we get a close underneath 507.67, pushing down into this range here. And maybe make something. So creating our high, we break this, right? Creates our high, and then it's like, okay, do we want to make a higher low? So what does that mean? So we come here, we make that set as a high by taking this down, right? And then if we want to come up, we'd have to make one more move down, and then we'd say, okay, make a higher high, or if it wanted to say gets rejected there, and we come and make a lower low. But we're pushing up right now. This is a nice coil here, guys. It's a really nice coil. When you see this, this is generally what you'll see on either one of two things: a nice movement to the upside, or where it's like one of those continuation type of squeeze days, or you'll see it as it's an indicator that we're burnt on longer time frames and that we need to have some type of rest. So that can come in a couple different ways. It could come in extreme chop, or it could come in a push down before a bigger push down before moving up. But as of right now, it's just kind of making its way up. We'll see. It hasn't taken this high yet. Okay, Microsoft. Take a look. Okay, so if you guys remember earlier, we talked about this where I said that we'd likely make a run for 405.81 and swipe it. And I said that's where you would trim. I want to show you the execution level in that, okay? It swiped it barely, right? Let's take a look at this. It swiped it barely at 405.81, and I said that's where you should trim. Well, boom, hit it, and then it bounced, okay? So that's some precision technical analysis there, y'all. Precision. Now, does it want to make a run for that 402 gap? Potentially. We got to see some weakness up top here. So as of right now, range bound for me right here. In fact, it hasn't made a newer high, hasn't taken this candle here at 411. So your actual range is right here. It's your actual range back to 397, unless this is taken. unless we see 411 taken. All right, so we're getting a bit of a push up here. Still on that coil. Probably going to squeeze this right to 509. Okay, this is going to virtually invalidate what we were looking for earlier in regards to the topping, unless we get a full-blown like reversal pretty quickly and within a minute. You think it's crazy to think that it cracks 510? I don't think it's crazy because it would be a highly squeezed event, and that's kind of what I was talking about with these type of looks that you get on RSI here. This is a squeeze event type of look where you'll go and you maybe hit like a hard level like 509.09 right here will be a hard level. So it'll likely have a strong sell, but a lot of times what all that does is give it a little breathing room. Maybe it resets, but maybe because all the buyers there, maybe that only brings you down right here, and you've reset RSI, and then people are selling into it, and it gives it that momentum and that breathing room to make that run over the top. Google's losing a little bit of ground here. Be curious to see on how that looks. Let's take a look here. Let's look at Google. Get this going. Give me a moment. I don't know why this isn't working. There we go. Strong. This is what I was talking about earlier, where it could watch this thing to punch down in that range, right? And I said, get 1 minute. If it had that reversal, it would be okay. Well, it did. It did exactly what we said it could do. Watch for this thing to run down. But this, again, okay, this is where I talked about this. Watch for this to be that potential squeeze area, right? It comes down, hits our spot here, right? And then we see that squeeze because we need it to break below this 507 if you want to see continuation to the downside. If it struggles with this and finds a decent bounce, then you're going to be in trouble because it's likely a squeeze event. So really strong reversal there. Now all that's done. If we get a pullback a little bit further or get a close down there, then all that's done is just kind of prolong this area. Okay, if you guys want me to take a look at a certain a certain a certain ticker, then just put it in the comments. Do me a favor and like the video. It'd be very helpful to me. Okay, so again, this is what I was talking about. These squeeze events, they pull back. It gives it breathing room. And this is just one of those deals where it's just like it pulled back and then it just retraced, right? It's all about the close on RSI. So that did what we're doing, what we're thinking, but the 5 minute, it just retraced. So on this 509 area, I will be taking a short, looking for some type of scalp. Whether it's 10%, 20%, doesn't matter. Goog's taking a bit of a licking. I'd watch for that 170 bounce. Microsoft's trying to run. If I had to guess, we're probably Nvidia's probably running this morning. Yeah, this is going to be what's doing it right here. This is going to be what's doing it. You got to think though that that it's going to take a breather, but Nvidia is just so strong when it wants to run like this. So strong. That's looking for 867. So coiling, right? Hits our mark, big dip down. Generally, so we'd probably see it run from our 509 down to our purple here, and then try to make a further run. Gives it that breather it's looking for. But with NVIDIA running like it is, you really have to be cognizant of what you're doing. But I'm telling you, it breaking 861, pretty big. Didn't quite break it. Didn't quite break it. Let's cue that up. Okay, set an alert here. Okay, so NVIDIA did cross it. We'll see how it responds if it wants to get some type of pullback after taking that liquidity there. You would only imagine they would have to take a little bit of a breather after taking that high. We'll kind of see what happens. I did average into my 508 short here. I'm in on 6 contracts, average at 104 here. Don't like the fact that Google's kind of sitting around trying to build harmonics on this shit. Yeah, coming down a little bit. take a look at the 2-year where we're at. 497. We're just kind of sitting around, pull back, but we're kind of maintaining right there on that 497. All these are back. TLT's kind of bouncing. Interesting to see the bond market like that. Apple, strong morning. Meta, it's going to get probably a little bit of a pullback. AMD's running with NVIDIA. See if we got our candle here. Okay, so waiting on this right here, kind of checking. Let's see, QQQ and puts on Google. That shit is inflated, brother. I don't know if it's inflated, but it's definitely quite the shock, I guess, to see it jump like it did with the earnings they had, with everything that's going on. So you could do it, right? Try to ride it back down to 160. I think that's more probable than not, to put it that way. We'll see how it responds. It looks like it's going to make that push to 50909. See if it gets it, and then potential reversal. Again, I want to be very adamant that our daily 20 rest on 509.46. So I talked about this purple area here on this chart. Anywhere between here is your ideal short, looking for some type of reversal, right? Weakness on the 20. My God, this squeeze on Nvidia is gonna fucking just get this whole market going. Okay. Bit of a pullback right here. We talked about this 509 area being a rejection. Let's see if this thing wants to get a full pullback. That would probably, on the RSI here, that would probably bring us in this area. But this was a strong reversal and a buy area for bulls in this range right here. So it wouldn't surprise me to see it just try to come in this range, and we see it being bought up. But we still haven't touched 50909. People will be hammering sells right there. We'll kind of see how it reacts. But I'm kind of looking for this 50766. This purple range right here is where I think we'll end up getting a pullback into, but we'll see. All right. So SPY puts are up right now. Um, if you followed it, they're up. They're up a decent amount. I mean, I've got some, but um, it's kind of bouncing here. I'm looking for this thing to roll back into this purple zone on the bare minimum for me. That's what I'm hoping. If we get a push over the top of this, that looks like conducive to some type of continuation, I'll likely just cut it for a loss. But otherwise, I'm not really looking to sell. I'll probably sell most of them right here in this purple zone. Keeps trying to hold on, man. Moving average is right here at 508. So on a 5 minute, so you need to be cognizant that kind of lines up with this area here. I mean, again, you guys see how this kind of just creates this channel almost right here. And this is where you get that squeeze, and then it'll pop over the top of it when it gets weak enough, and then it'll just be the next run. But generally, what we'll see is we'll see a big dip on this and like reset the cycle. And I think that would be virtually it coming down and then running up. I guess a good example of that would be um, kind of right here, right? So this would be something similar to like what we're seeing. We had a breakout, had a couple things here, nice little reversal. It came up and it sold pretty strong, came right here. But that idea, that cycle was that it was riding high and then it reset it, but it came only to these lows. And so that's where we look for it to come down right in this zone here, looking for that total reset. We'll see if it sells. You gotta have Nvidia cool off. If Nvidia doesn't cool off, which Nvidia, I guess the let's take a look at this on not on that screen. Let's look at it on 1 hour. This consolidation here, largest point of control volume sits at 873. So okay, so we talked about Microsoft. Until proven otherwise, this was the range. Okay, it did create that new low. So this is shrinking. This has created that new high on 511, right? Created that. So until this is changed up, this is your range. So you would look to short this for a roll back down here. I think it's more probable that we see this thing swipe the top before we do swipe the low, but we'll see. Okay, again, another rejection. We just want to see it. Just send it down for us, please. Okay, so I had a couple people ask me some questions. Let me take a look at Google. So Google clearly, clearly we're going to see the Qs running pretty good, pretty nice percentage today. 424 close yesterday. We're at 430, so it's a really nice run. It's a combination of clearly Google, Microsoft, and Nvidia running. They're heavily weighted on this, and when you start looking at this, and let's take a look at this on this chart. So the 20 and the 50 on the Qs are a little bit higher, right? You have a gap close here. This is an unclosed gap at 433.12. And then you have your 20 sitting at 432.14. So again, if this is all essentially a wave up for a wave back for the pulling back for inflation, for the rates being not looking like they're going to be cut, right? For our economy, for growing debt, that would be where we'd probably get a rejection right here around this 20 and this 50. We already had the bearish cross, right? 20 crossing the 50 right here. That's the bearish cross. Now, if you do see this and it starts chasing it, that is generally indicative of another wave up. Let's see if I can find that for you. Okay, perfect. Right here. So we had the 20 across the 50 here. We had that strong push up. Well, it came back into that high, sold back down, right? But you will see this. There's a better example. Better example that we see this cross up and then it just rides that 20, right? Rode it. You could have rode that up quite a bit, but the idea is that we are kind of just trapped right now between 413 and 450 on the Qs. I specifically like the 2 hour for my swing entry. Unless you're roped out, kind of consolidating like this area, it gives you a pretty good indication on what to look for. So you're seeing a pretty strong sell down on the Qs. Took out our liquidity here at 416. Found a bounce and an unconfirmed break here at 413, which lines up right here. And then it's trying to find that bounce. So this is a normal bounce. It breaking this high at 430 today. If it doesn't close above that today, like if we get a close sub 429.82, then it'll look kind of like a potential recheck around 425 area. So, okay. So we're finally getting that push down on SPY. So if you guys are with me on this, you guys should be up quite a bit. Up 11%, 12% right now, about 80 bucks. I'm just going to see if this thing wants to continue riding down. Um, we'll see. strong volume here, strong volume node on the day right here at 508. We talked about how that 5 minute was coming up. We're right around there. So for me personally, you know, I think it's wise to trim up some here. Okay, I do think it's wise. Wouldn't be mad at you either way, but I think the purple area is where we're coming. Okay, so we got a little bit of a push there. So right into that, you could trim some, right into that push into those moving averages. But I think we're, like I said, I think we're coming for this right here, this purple zone. But you need to be cognizant of some of those larger moving averages, which we just kind of bumped into. So you should be up over 15%, 20%. Well, yeah, motherfucker, I told you it was coming to 509. It was going to get sold. That's what happened. But watch this purple area, okay? So this is where you trim. You should be trimming a good amount right here at this purple area, okay? You should be up about 30%. Okay, now this is where you need to be really careful, because if you were in like something deep out of the money, you should just probably look at taking most of it, okay? Because this could bounce off of this zone, right? It could bounce off of this. Yes, sir. I appreciate you signing up for Webull. I think it was you. Appreciate you doing that, just based on your name. So nice little trim here for us, y'all. I do think it's coming into this purple zone, but it's a nice trim spot. At least reduce some risk there. But okay, so let's say, for example, this is kind of what I talked about, right? So you could look, say, hey, all right, I'm gonna buy some of those lotto calls now for that 512, 511 visit, okay? You could buy those on this pullback. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So, and it came right in line with this. We talked about all this earlier. This is where those squeeze days start. Everyone thinks it's going to short out, fucking blah, blah, blah. No, this is where I'm talking about. It was coming down here. We've been talking about this for the last hour. Be careful. This would be the lotto call entry, because once it goes through this, then it's a squeeze-a-thon. We'll see how it handles this rejection point right here. The sell down, right, with the moving average. No immediate reaction. Normally you see a pretty strong sell and a pullback and then maybe a recovery, but it's kind of holding pat. For me, that's not a good sign. Okay, so if you guys did take the calls like we're talking about, you'd be up right along with this. We talked about it right here. Comes big pullback. I already had this shit mapped out a long time ago, where you had a big pullback, and we talked about it over here and how it set this squeeze day up, right? Same thing, guys. Same thing. Right? It came back, it reset it, pulled back, and then it set it squeeze. So be careful. Be careful. I'm not saying, you know, one way or another right now. I never know what the market's going to do. What I do is I look for setups. That's all I do. And so, and I could play calls and I could play puts all at the same time. But it's all about what you're willing to risk and where your target is. So, as of right now, the reason why we look at, say, you know, taking profits, I was talking about trimming up good there, is because we knew this could bounce, and when that happens, that could kill theta. Because we could sit here for fucking an hour on 0 days, and then that's going to kill you. When it makes that move down here, you're going to make less money than what you would have made in the, say, 10 minutes that you held this contract and you didn't quite get to your target. So that's why trimming is good, because not only does it trim, like you're taking reducing risk here, but it also buys you time for this on your other contracts. If you're holding multiple contracts, it buys you time, so you're not losing money, you're not hemorrhaging money. It gives you safety, gives you confidence, right? So just kind of what you have to think about. But this, to me right here, let's take a look at the 5 minute. 5 minutes, a nice recovery back over its 10 moving average here. And it does potentially have like that harmonic look here. Okay. So that would mean probably a pullback or a settle here, and then one more push for 5 minute harmonics. 15 minute has that potential reversal look. Let's just put it this way. I think you could probably look at, some larger moves, some 514, like 514 or even 520s into the end of next week. And then you could also be looking for some 497s here. And you've got such a good spread here that's probably going to pay. So you probably need to look at like 515, 516s. Let's look at the price. I have a 30% on my call. Don't know if it can hit. Did you take it where I was talking about? Yeah, I mean, guys, it could run, it could stop here. So like, the idea is that this is the high. Bears are going to protect this high and try to run this down to make it a lower high, right? And in fact, this could be, some could say this is a head and shoulders here, right? Some could say this is your head and shoulders. So reversal type of look, but we talked about how to get down in here. There's lots of signals, and it's just kind of what do you go with most. But a lot of people right here, including myself, I have one contract that I'm sitting on. I traded out about 6 of those, and I'm sitting on one contract. We're gonna see if this thing wants to gut it. We took a 30% profit down here. So for me, we'll likely, these would be my 2 zones right here that you look at a potential bounce. I mean, you could see one in this right here. Okay, from this reversal from here, you can see one. It's already marked by fair value gap. Okay, you can see a bounce here, but your next targets would be down here. And based on 15-minute, if you don't find a bounce here, it's more probable that we roll down here. More probable. Okay, how long have I been on? An hour? No, brother, operate at market open. Okay. Yeah. So to show you something here, we've got, let's say, for example, we took the 509 call. Okay, it pulled back here. We pulled back and we said this is where your squeeze entry is, right? So you had already been up 48% on that little call there, based on how far that dropped and a quick recovery. Okay, that would have been a 40% play for those lottos. And it probably would have been a lot more probably on some lottos, like a 512. Let's look at a 511. Yeah, you could have got up to about 70% on those out of the money ones. Taking a look, you're starting to see Apple kind of consolidate here. It did take these highs. It's trying to figure out, do we kind of have distribution to the downside now and go for some of these targets? Starting to see Microsoft, it pushed up there where we talked about. I said that was where in that range. I'll pull that up real quick, but the only thing that really looks super strong to me is actually Tesla and Nvidia on this chart right here. Okay, so let's take a look at Microsoft. I talked about this range, right? I said this is your new range, and we came here and it said if it's a range, it's if you just want to talk about risk versus reward, right? Shorting the top, buying the bottom, cutting outside. All right, your range is developed, and that was a nice little sell down right on our level at 412.33, and it came back down. It's pushing down. This would be again. Let's take a look. Talked about Nvidia swiping this here at 861.85. Let's see if it gets below that. If it does get below that and we start to see some continuation, it would be a down. It would be for the downside. Harmonics here, guys. This would be a big harmonic, right? Push back down. So watch for this to make one more run down here. So let's say if you want to do a long position, let's say you do something like this here, okay, or more, right? It could go, where's our next liquidity? 512. But let's run it to the let's run it to the baseline here, our trend line. That's a 4.3 RVR. That's a 1 minute harmonic. One-minute harmonics right here. So it pushed down a little bit, and then you'd look for a call, but you'd have to hold and say, I'm gonna let this thing come back down here in this range and see if it wants to be bought up again. But for me, like I said, I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's gonna do that. I think we're gonna roll back down. I think we're gonna test the low of the day today. That's just my opinion. Dollar's continuing to climb. It's another aspect. If you take a look at this, we talked about this earlier. Dollar run for the 106.20, okay, and it's running for 106.20. It's a strong slide over the last 15 minutes for the dollar. Oh my God. Take a look at the 2-year. 2-year's kind of getting that bounce now. So you're having some of these I just want to be very clear here. I want you guys to look at something. Okay, if we lose this, we spent 30 minutes here, and it ultimately had a pretty strong rejection. Came back down here and trying to find a bounce. It is not crazy. If you say, all right, I'll take this short here, run a little bit on the high, and looking for an extension, right? So your extension would be that it came in here, and you're looking for that. So your extension would be right here. It's not crazy to run something like that when you had a block, an order block of resistance, and then you're looking for this thing to sell back down. It's not crazy to think that. Okay, that's a decent play to kind of watch and see if it wants to run down to 170. But I don't think it's going to be today. It could. Okay, your harmonics are starting to show face here for that particular play. See if it does squeeze. Any move, I'll tell y'all, any move to the upside here with great strength, I'll look probably to close out of my put we start making a run at it. I mean, the idea is that we haven't even hit 509.09, and so this could be a trap, right? We could see it run liquidity and then run back on right on that 509. So there's a couple different things, but for me, I don't want to see this thing move up with any great strength. But okay, hopefully you guys learned some things today. If you didn't, then my bad. But we did talk about our play going short here and looking for it to roll down into this purple zone. We talked about extremely trimming right here at this zone, and that's kind of where we're at. That was a 30 to 40% play, kind of depending on when you took it. If you took it right at the top there like you should have, then you would have maximized it. But I'm going to go take care of this yapping dog and maybe go grab me something to drink and something to eat. So hope everybody has a great Friday. Please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video. It's something I'm going to try to do at least once a week moving forward, and could use your support. So thank y'all. Have a great day and great weekend.